Crash landing. The vast expanse of space shimmered with countless stars, a deceptively peaceful backdrop to the frantic flight of a sleek silver spacecraft. Inside the cockpit, Princess Zara of the Luminorans gripped the controls with trembling hands, her iridescent eyes wide with fear and determination. Alarms blared around her, red warning lights flashing across the ship's consoles. "Computer, status report," Zara shouted, her voice cracking with exhaustion. "Multiple systems failing. Hull integrity at 32%. Fuel reserves critically low. Recommend immediate landing on nearest habitable planet," the AI responded in its emotionless tone. Zara's heart raced as she scanned the nearby star systems. Her home world of Luminara was light years behind her, consumed by a brutal civil war that had toppled her family's reign. She was the last of the royal line, carrying with her the hopes of her loyalists and the key to restoring peace to her people. A small blue-green planet appeared on her view screen. "Computer, analyze that world," Zara commanded. "Planet designation: Earth. Atmosphere breathable. Indigenous population pre-interstellar. Warning: landing protocols compromised. Crash imminent." Zara steeled herself. It wasn't an ideal situation, but she had no choice. "Initiate emergency landing sequence," she ordered, bracing for impact. The ship plummeted through Earth's atmosphere, its hull glowing red-hot from the friction. Zara fought to maintain control, but the damaged systems made it nearly impossible. Trees rushed up to meet her as the craft plunged into a dense forest, carving a destructive path through the wilderness before coming to a violent stop. Silence fell, broken only by the hiss of cooling metal and the distant calls of startled wildlife. Inside the wreckage, Zara lay unconscious, her delicate features marred by cuts and bruises. The ship's emergency beacon flickered weakly, its signal barely penetrating the thick canopy above. Miles away, in a small clearing, a scruffy mutt raised his head, ears twitching. The dog, a mixed breed with intelligent eyes and a shaggy coat, had been abandoned in these woods months ago. He'd learned to survive on his own, but a part of him still longed for companionship. Something in the air felt different. A faint scent unlike anything he'd encountered before tickled his sensitive nose. Curiosity overrode caution, and the dog set off into the forest, following the strange smell. As dawn broke, casting dappled sunlight through the leaves, the dog approached the crash site. Smoke still rose from the twisted metal of Zara's ship, and debris was scattered across the forest floor. The dog sniffed cautiously, circling the wreckage until he found an opening. Inside, he discovered Zara's unconscious form. The dog whined softly, nudging her hand with his wet nose. When she didn't respond, he curled up beside her, offering warmth and protection as he had once done for his human family. Hours passed, and the forest slowly came alive with the sounds of birds and small animals, seemingly undisturbed by the alien object in their midst. Inside the ship, Zara stirred, consciousness returning in a haze of pain and confusion. She blinked, trying to focus on her surroundings. The first thing she saw was a pair of warm brown eyes staring at her with concern. Zara gasped, instinctively recoiling before realizing the creature beside her posed no immediate threat. What are you?" she whispered, her universal translator struggling to find the right words in this world's languages. The dog tilted his head, tail wagging slightly at the sound of her voice. He let out a soft woof in response. Zara's scientific training kicked in, helping her push aside her fear and analyze the situation. The creature appeared to be some kind of native fauna, possibly domesticated given its non-aggressive behavior. Its presence was oddly comforting in the aftermath of her crash. Slowly, carefully, she reached out a hand. The dog sniffed it, then gave her fingers a gentle lick. A small smile crossed Zara's face, her first since fleeing her home world. "Thank you for staying with me, little one," she said softly. "I suppose we're both a bit lost, aren't we?" With the dog's help, Zara managed to extricate herself from the wreckage. Each movement sent spikes of pain through her body, but her Luminoran physiology was already working to heal the worst of her injuries. She stumbled out into the forest, leaning against a tree as she took in her new surroundings. The lush greenery was unlike anything on her arid home world. The air was thick with moisture and the sense of unfamiliar plants. Zara's scientific curiosity warred with a sense of caution. She was stranded on an alien world with unknown dangers. The dog stayed close, seeming to sense her unease. His presence was reassuring, a reminder that she wasn't entirely alone. Zara knelt down, wincing at the movement, and gently stroked the dog's fur. "I don't suppose you know where I might find help?" she asked, not expecting an answer. To her surprise, the dog barked once and began trotting away. After a few steps, he looked back at her expectantly. Zara hesitated, glancing back at her ruined ship. There was nothing salvageable in the short term, and staying put wasn't an option. With a deep breath, she made her decision. "Very well, my furry guide. Lead on." As they made their way through the forest, Zara's mind raced with plans and contingencies. Her top priority was to find a way to contact her allies without alerting her enemies to her location. But first, she needed to understand this world and its inhabitants. The dog led her to a small stream, and Zara realized how parched she was. She cupped her hands, drinking the cool water gratefully. As she did so, she caught sight of her reflection and gasped. Her usually sleek, silvery hair was matted with dirt and blood. The regal attire she'd worn during her escape was torn and burned. "I'm a far cry from a princess now," she murmured. The dog nudged her hand as if offering comfort. Zara managed a small smile. "You're right. Titles mean little here. We focus on survival first." As the day wore on, Zara and her canine companion traversed the forest. The dog seemed to have a destination in mind, though Zara couldn't fathom what it might be. Her body ached, and the alien environment taxed her senses, but she pressed on. Periodically, they would stop to rest. During these breaks, Zara attempted to use her limited equipment to scan for signs of civilization. The results were inconclusive. There were faint energy signatures that might indicate technology, but nothing definitive. As evening approached, bringing with it a chorus of unfamiliar animal sounds, Zara's concern grew. She needed shelter for the night, and her knowledge of Earth's potential predators was non-existent. The dog, however, seemed unconcerned. Just as Zara was about to suggest they find a defensible position for the night, the trees thinned, revealing a startling sight. A small wooden structure stood in a clearing, clearly artificial but long abandoned. "Is this what you were leading me to?" Zara asked the dog, who wagged his tail in response. Cautiously, they approached the building. It appeared to be some kind of recreational shelter, with a collapsed table inside and the remnants of a fire pit nearby. While primitive, it offered more protection than the open forest. Zara set about making the shelter as secure as possible, using broken branches to cover the windows and gathering dry leaves for bedding. The dog watched her work, occasionally bringing her sticks in an attempt to help. As night fell, Zara huddled in the shelter with her canine protector. She stroked his fur absently, finding comfort in his steady presence. "I don't even know what to call you," she mused. After a moment's thought, she smiled. "How about Orion? It seems fitting for a guide among the stars." The newly named Orion wagged his tail, seeming to approve. Zara's mind turned to the challenges ahead. She was stranded on a pre-interstellar world, hunted by her own people, with only a local animal as an ally. And yet, a spark of hope remained. If this world's inhabitants were advanced enough to build shelters like this, perhaps they were closer to the stars than she initially thought. As she drifted into an uneasy sleep, Zara made a silent vow. She would find a way to contact her allies to save her people from the tyranny that had overthrown her family. And somehow, she would find a way to protect this beautiful, primitive world from the conflict that pursued her across the stars. Orion shifted closer, his warm body a reassuring presence in the alien night. Together, the unlikely pair, an exiled alien princess and a stray Earth dog, faced an uncertain future on a world that held both danger and hope. The adventure was only beginning. Unlikely alliance. The Quantum Whisperer. As the first light of dawn filtered through the dilapidated shelter, Zara awoke with a start. Her iridescent eyes darted around, momentarily disoriented by the unfamiliar surroundings. Orion, sensing her distress, nuzzled her hand reassuringly. The alien princess smiled, grateful for her newfound companion. "Thank you, Orion," she whispered, her universal translator converting her melodic Luminoran language into rough English. "We should move on. It's not safe to linger." As they ventured deeper into the forest, Zara's mind raced with possibilities. Her people, the Luminarans, possessed a unique ability. They could manipulate quantum fields with their minds. On her home world, this gift was used for everything from healing to space travel. But here, on this primitive planet, it might be the key to her survival. Suddenly, Orion's ears perked up. He let out a low growl, positioning himself protectively in front of Zara. Through the trees, they could hear the sound of someone approaching, muttering to themselves. Quantum entanglement in a forest? Impossible. And yet, these readings. A human emerged from the underbrush, his eyes fixed on a strange device in his hands. He was tall and lanky, with wild hair and a beard that seemed to defy gravity. When he looked up and saw Zara, his jaw dropped. "Great goodly moogly," he breathed. You're not from around here, are you?" Zara tensed, ready to flee, but something in the human's eyes, a mixture of wonder and curiosity, made her pause. "No," she replied cautiously. "I am not." The man's face lit up with childlike excitement. "I knew it. The quantum fluctuations, the non-local interactions, it all makes sense now. I'm Dr. Edeleus Quantum, astrophysicist and quantum mechanic extraordinaire. And you, my shimmering friend, are the answer to questions I've been asking my whole life." Zara blinked, taken aback by the human's enthusiasm. "I am Princess Zara of the Luminarans. This is Orion." She gestured to the dog, who had relaxed slightly but still eyed Dr. Quantum warily. "We are in need of assistance." Dr. Quantum's eyes widened even further. "A princess. Fascinating. But more importantly, you're manipulating quantum fields on a macroscopic scale. Do you realize the implications? This could revolutionize our understanding of the universe." As Dr. Quantum rambled on about superposition and wave function collapse, Zara found herself both amused and intrigued. This human's grasp of quantum mechanics, while primitive by Luminaran standards, was impressive for a pre-interstellar civilization. "Dr. Quantum," Zara interrupted gently. "While I would be fascinated to discuss theoretical physics with you, I am in a rather precarious situation. I crashed on your world while fleeing a civil war on my own. There are those who would do anything to capture me and the secrets I carry." The scientist's expression sobered. Of course. My apologies, Your Highness. Please come with me. My lab isn't far from here, and it's shielded against all kinds of electromagnetic and quantum interference. You'll be safe there while we figure out our next move." As they trekked through the forest, Dr. Quantum peppered Zara with questions about Luminaran technology and culture. She answered as best she could, careful not to reveal anything that might be too disruptive to Earth's development. "So, you can manipulate quantum fields with your mind?" Dr. Quantum asked, his voice filled with awe. "That's incredible. The applications for quantum computing alone would be revolutionary." Zara nodded. "On my world, we call it the quantum whisper. It is as natural to us as breathing. But here, it feels different, muted somehow." Dr. Quantum stroked his beard thoughtfully. "Fascinating. Perhaps it's due to the unique quantum structure of Earth's biosphere. Or maybe... Oh, what if it's related to the planetary magnetic field? We could run some tests, see if..." He was cut off by a low, menacing growl from Orion. The dog's hackles were raised, his eyes fixed on a point deep in the forest. Zara felt it too, a familiar, ominous presence that sent a chill down her spine. "We need to run," she said urgently. "Now." Without question, Dr. Quantum followed as Zara and Orion sprinted through the underbrush. Behind them, they could hear the sound of pursuit, heavy footsteps, and the whine of energy weapons powering up. "What are they?" Dr. Quantum panted as they ran. "Void hunters," Zara replied grimly. "Assassins bred for one purpose, to track and eliminate threats to the usurpers who overthrew my family. They can sense quantum disturbances across vast distances." As they burst into a clearing, Dr. Quantum's eyes lit up with recognition. "There, my lab." Before them stood what appeared to be an ordinary cabin, but as they approached, Zara could sense the complex quantum shielding surrounding it. Dr. Quantum pressed his hand against a hidden panel, and a door slid open. Quickly inside, they dove through the entrance just as a barrage of energy bolts scorched the ground where they had been standing. The door slammed shut behind them, sealing them in darkness. "Lights on," Dr. Quantum commanded, and the interior of the lab illuminated. It was a stark contrast to the rustic exterior, gleaming metal surfaces, holographic displays, and equipment that looked positively alien even to Zara's eyes. "Welcome to the Quantum Den," Dr. Quantum said with a grin. "The most advanced private research facility on Earth, and now the front line in an interstellar conflict. How's that for a plot twist?" Zara couldn't help but smile, despite the gravity of their situation. "Indeed, Dr. Quantum. It seems our alliance was forged just in time." Orion barked in agreement, wagging his tail as he explored the lab's nooks and crannies. "So," Dr. Quantum said, rubbing his hands together evilly, "an alien princess, a loyal Earth dog, and a maverick quantum physicist walk into a top-secret lab. I'd say we have all the makings of a rather extraordinary team. Now, let's see about upgrading your quantum whisper, shall we? I have a feeling we're going to need every advantage we can get." As the Void Hunters circled the lab, probing for weaknesses, the unlikely allies inside began to plan. With Zara's advanced knowledge, Orion's instincts, and Dr. Quantum's ingenious Earth tech, they just might stand a chance against the forces arrayed against them. The Quantum Whisper was about to become Earth's first line of defense against an interstellar threat. And for Zara, it was a glimmer of hope, a chance not just to survive, but to turn the tide of a war light years away. Little did they know, their alliance was about to spark a chain of events that would change the course of human history and the fate of the galaxy itself. Quantum convergence, the viral phenomenon. As dawn broke over Dr. Quantum's lab, Zara stood before a holographic display, her iridescent eyes reflecting the swirling data streams. Orion lay nearby, his keen senses attuned to any potential threat. Dr. Quantum paced excitedly, his wild hair even more disheveled than usual. "Eureka!" he exclaimed suddenly, causing Orion to jump. "Princess Zara, I think I've cracked it. Your quantum whisper. It's not just telepathy or telekinesis. It's a form of macro-quantum entanglement." Zara tilted her head, intrigued. "Go on, Doctor. How does this help us?" Dr. Quantum's eyes gleamed with manic enthusiasm. "Don't you see? If we can amplify your abilities using Earth's unique geomagnetic field, we could create a planetary-scale quantum network. Instant communication, impenetrable encryption, maybe even—" He paused for dramatic effect. "Teleportation." Zara's eyes widened. "That's theoretically possible, but the energy requirements would be astronomical." "Ah, but that's where the viral component comes in," Dr. Quantum exclaimed, pulling up a new holographic display. "We use social media to distribute a quantum-encoded video. Anyone who watches it becomes part of the network, their devices acting as quantum relays. We call it the Quantum Viral Nexus." Orion barked, seemingly in approval of the grandiose name. "It's brilliant," Zara admitted, "but also incredibly risky. If the Void Hunters intercept the signal—" "They won't," a new voice chimed in. All heads turned to see a young woman standing in the doorway, her arms crossed and a smirk on her face. Not if we use my unbreakable quantum encryption algorithm. Dr. Quantum beamed. Ah, perfect timing. Princess Zara, meet my protégée, Aria Cipher. She's a child prodigy and the world's foremost expert in quantum cryptography. Aria nodded coolly, charmed. Now, about this alien invasion problem. As the group huddled around the holographic displays, formulating their plan, none of them noticed the small drone hovering outside the lab's window, its camera focused intently on their discussion. Miles away, in a nondescript van filled with cutting-edge surveillance equipment, Special Agent Dex Shadow of the Ultra-Classified Extraterrestrial Response Division, UCERT, watched the feed with growing concern. "Sir," his junior agent reported, "the quantum fluctuations are off the charts. Whatever they're planning in there, it's big." Dex nodded grimly. "Keep monitoring. If this goes public, it could change everything. The world isn't ready for." His words were cut off as every screen in the van suddenly flickered to life, displaying a mesmerizing pattern of swirling colors and geometric shapes. A melodic voice, otherworldly yet soothing, filled the air. "People of Earth, we come in peace and urgency. Your world stands on the brink of a cosmic awakening. The quantum viral nexus is your key to unlocking the universe's greatest secrets. Share this message. Become part of something greater than yourself. Together, we can forge a new destiny among the stars." The message ended, leaving Dex and his team in stunned silence. After a moment, the junior agent spoke up, his voice filled with awe. "Sir, I think I just shared that on TikTok." Dex groaned. "May God have mercy on us all." Back in the lab, Zara lowered her hands, the glow of the quantum whisper fading from her fingertips. "It's done. The message is out there." Dr. Quantum clapped his hands gleefully. "Magnificent. Now we just need to wait for it to go viral." "Aria, how long do you think?" He was interrupted by a ping from one of the monitors. Aria's eyes widened as she checked the readout. Guys, it's already been viewed 10 million times. And counting." Outside, the sky began to shimmer with an aurora-like effect, visible even in broad daylight. Millions of devices around the world pulsed with an eerie, synchronized glow. The quantum viral nexus was coming online, far faster and more powerfully than anyone had anticipated. Orion whined softly, pressing closer to Zara's side. The alien princess placed a comforting hand on his head, even as she felt the immense power of Earth's collective consciousness flooding through her. "By the stars," she whispered, "what have we unleashed?" Dr. Quantum laughed maniacally. "History, my dear princess. We've just kick-started the next phase of human evolution." Aria, ever the voice of reason, cut in. "That's great and all, but we've got company, lots of company." The lab's external cameras showed a strange mix of gatherings outside. Crowds of awestruck civilians, their eyes glued to their glowing devices. News vans with reporters breathlessly narrating the unfolding events. And on the fringes, sleek black vehicles disgorging stern-faced agents in suits. "Looks like the government's noticed our little science project," Aria quipped. Zara straightened, her regal bearing shining through despite her tattered appearance. "Then it's time we introduced ourselves properly. Dr. Quantum, Aria, are you ready to help me change the world?" The scientist and the prodigy exchanged glances, then nodded resolutely. Orion barked, tail wagging with excitement. As they prepared to face the world, the quantum viral nexus continued to spread, linking minds and machines in ways never before imagined. The line between human and alien, between Earth and the cosmos, was blurring. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, the Void Hunters received an urgent transmission from their masters. The message was clear. Earth was no longer a primitive backwater. It had become the most important battlefield in the galaxy. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate of two worlds, and perhaps the very nature of reality itself. The quantum convergence had begun, and nothing would ever be the same again. Quantum uprising, The mimetic revolution. The world was in chaos, but it was a chaos of awakening. As Zara, Dr. Quantum, Aria, and Orion stepped out of the lab, they were greeted by a sea of glowing faces, quite literally. Millions of people around the globe now sported a faint, iridescent sheen to their skin, a side effect of the quantum viral nexus. Well, Dr. Quantum mused, stroking his beard, I didn't see that coming. Aria rolled her eyes. You didn't see any of this coming, old man. Before them, a throng of reporters surged forward, held back only by a thin line of overwhelmed police officers. Among them, Special Agent Dex Shadow pushed his way to the front, his usually stoic face betraying a mix of awe and concern. Princess Zara of the Luminorans, he called out, flashing a badge. I'm with you, CERT. We need to talk. Zara stepped forward, her regal bearing drawing all eyes. Indeed we do, Agent Shadow. But not just with you, with everyone. She raised her hands, and suddenly, every screen in sight, from smartphones to giant billboards, lit up with her image. The quantum viral nexus had given her unprecedented access to Earth's technology. People of Earth, she began, her voice resonating through devices worldwide, you stand at a crossroads. The quantum viral nexus has awakened abilities within you that you never knew existed. But with this power comes great responsibility and great danger. As she spoke, social media exploded with reactions. #QuantumAwakening and #AlienPrincess trended globally. Memes featuring Zara's glowing eyes and inspirational quotes spread faster than light. Meanwhile, in orbit, the first wave of Void Hunter ships entered Earth's atmosphere, their stealth technology rendering them invisible to conventional sensors, but not to the newly awakened human population. All across the planet, people began pointing to the sky, their enhanced senses detecting the intruders. The quantum viral nexus turned each human into a living, breathing early warning system. Back on the ground, Aria's eyes widened as she monitored the global response on her quantum-enhanced tablet. Guys, you're not going to believe this. People are repelling the Void Hunters with memes. Dr. Quantum peered over her shoulder, adjusting his spectacles. Great galaxies, they're weaponizing internet culture. On screens worldwide, clips of cats shooting laser beams from their eyes interspersed with actual footage of civilians projecting quantum energy at Void Hunter ships. The #VoidHeat so to the top of trending lists. Orion, not to be left out, let out a resounding bark that somehow translated through the Nexus into a global rallying cry. #GoodestBoy became the unofficial slogan of Earth's resistance. Zara couldn't help but smile, even as she marveled at the strange turns her mission had taken. It seems humanity's greatest strength might be its ability to find humor in the face of adversity. Agent Shadow, who had been listening with increasing bewilderment, finally found his voice. This is all well and good, but how do we actually stop these Void Hunters? Surely we can't mean them to death. Oh, ye of little faith, Dr. Quantum chuckled. You underestimate the power of viral content combined with quantum entanglement. Each shared meme, each liked post, each retweeted joke, they're all strengthening the quantum viral nexus, and with it, humanity's collective psychic defense. As if to prove his point, a massive Void Hunter mothership appeared in the sky above them, its imposing bulk casting a shadow over the city. But as it charged its main weapon, something extraordinary happened. Millions of voices cried out as one, not in terror, but in defiance. A shimmering barrier of pure quantum energy formed around the Earth, fueled by the collective will of humanity and their unshakable belief in their own memes. The Void Hunter weapon fired, only to have its blast absorbed and redirected by the barrier. The ship wobbled, then began to descend, caught in the inexorable pull of Earth's mean-powered quantum field. Holy Schrodinger's cat, Aria breathed. We've created a mimetic gravity well. As the mothership crashed into the ocean, thankfully far from any populated areas, cheers erupted around the world. Hashtag void sunk and hashtag quantum victory exploded across social media platforms. But Zara's expression remained serious. "This is only the beginning," she warned. "My enemies will not give up so easily. We've won the battle, but the war for the galaxy's future is far from over." Dr. Quantum nodded solemnly, then broke into a wide grin. "True, but just think of the possibilities. We've unlocked humanity's quantum potential, created a global psychic network, and weaponized internet culture. I'd say we're off to a pretty good start." Agent Shadow, looking slightly dazed, holstered his weapon. "I can't believe I'm saying this, but what's our next move, Your Highness?" Zara looked out at the sea of glowing faces, then down at Orion, who wagged his tail encouragingly. She smiled, a plan already forming in her mind. "Now," she said, her voice carrying through the quantum viral nexus to every awakened human on the planet, "we take the fight to the stars. Earth is no longer merely humanity's cradle. It's become the launching pad for a quantum revolution that will reshape the galaxy." As her words echoed across the world, a new hashtag began to trend. Hashtag Quantum Crusade. Humanity, armed with newfound powers, unbreakable unity, and an inexhaustible supply of memes, prepared to take its first steps into a larger universe. The quantum uprising had begun, and the cosmos would never be the same. Quantum Exodus, the meme fleet rises. As dawn broke over a changed Earth, the sky shimmered with the iridescent glow of the quantum viral nexus. But today, humanity's gaze was fixed not on the heavens, but on their screens, where a revolutionary livestream was about to begin. "Welcome, Quantum Warriors." Dr. Quantum's wild-haired visage filled millions of devices. "Today, we embark on the greatest adventure in human history. Operation Mean Fleet is go." The camera panned to reveal a massive hangar, where rows of sleek spacecraft stood ready. Each bore the unmistakable marks of Earth's new quantum meme culture, from grumpy cat-nose art to entire hulls wrapped in animated GIS. Zara stepped into frame, her regal bearing softened by a hint of amusement. "These vessels are the pinnacle of human Luminoran hybrid technology, powered by quantum entanglement and fueled by the collective creativity of your species." Aria, furiously typing on a holographic keyboard, chimed in. "And thanks to the quantum viral nexus, anyone can pilot them. Just think it, and the ship responds." Agent Shadow, looking slightly uncomfortable in his new role as humanity's liaison to the stars, cleared his throat. "We're asking for volunteers. Earth needs its best and brightest toe." He was cut off by a deafening roar from outside. The hangar doors opened to reveal a sea of humanity, each person glowing with quantum energy and wearing elaborate cosplay. "Well," Dr. Quantum chuckled, "I guess Comic-Con came early this year." Indeed, the volunteers had taken the call to arms quite literally. Superheroes mingled with space marines, anime characters stood shoulder to shoulder with historical figures, and leading the charge, a group of kids in animal onesies, with a very excited Orion at their head. Zara couldn't help but laugh. It seems Earth's greatest strength truly is its diversity, and its ability to turn anything into a celebration. As the newly minted meme fleet prepared for launch, social media exploded with a new trend, hashtag #MyQuantumSelf. People shared images of their ideal cosmic avatars, which, thanks to the Nexus, began to manifest as shimmering overlays on their physical forms. Aria's eyes widened as she monitored the data streams. "Guys, you're not going to believe this. The memes, they're evolving, becoming sentient." On screens worldwide, beloved meme characters sprang to life. Doji led a squadron of Shiba Inu-shaped fighters. Nyan cats streaked across the sky, leaving a rainbow trail of quantum energy. Even Rickrolls served a purpose, their catchy tunes scrambling Void Hunter communications. As the first wave of the meme fleet took to the skies, Earth itself seemed to pulse with excitement. The quantum viral nexus had transformed the planet into a living, breathing entity, a gestalt consciousness of means and quantum potential. In orbit, the remaining Void Hunter ships found themselves facing an adversary unlike any they'd encountered. How do you combat an enemy that turns your every move into a joke? Literally, incoming transmission from the Void Hunter command ship, Aria reported, her fingers dancing across holographic displays. The menacing visage of the Void Hunter Supreme appeared on screen. Foolish humans, your pathetic means cannot stop. His words were drowned out by a chorus of "Why are you gay?" memes, each repetition strengthening the quantum field around Earth and weakening the Void Hunter shields. "It's working," Dr. Quantum exclaimed. "The power of collective cringe is actually destabilizing their quantum structure." Zara nodded, a mix of awe and amusement on her face. "I never imagined Earth's defense would rely on, what did you call it, shitposting." Agent Shadow, who had been quietly observing, finally spoke up. "I can't believe I'm saying this, but deploy the Rickroll cannon." A massive array on the moon's surface, hastily constructed by an army of quantum-enhanced engineers, powered up. It fired a concentrated beam of Rick Astley's timeless lyrics, enveloped in a quantum field of pure, weaponized nostalgia. The effect was instantaneous. Void Hunter ships began to glitch, their crews suddenly overcome with an irresistible urge to dance. In the confusion, the meme fleet struck. Led by a squadron of "This is fine" dog memes, projecting an aura of calm in the face of cosmic peril, Earth's defenders pushed the Void Hunters back. Peepee the Frog memes deployed quantum slip space drives, outmaneuvering the enemy at every turn. As the battle raged, something unprecedented occurred. The quantum entanglement between memes, humans, and machines reached a critical point. Reality itself began to warp, responding to the collective will of Earth's mimetic consciousness. Dr. Quantum's eyes widened as he studied the readings. "Great Scott, we've done it. We've mended our way into creating a stable wormhole." Indeed, a swirling portal had opened in space, its edges shimmering with the unmistakable iridescence of the quantum viral nexus. Beyond it lay the heart of Void Hunter space and the path to Zara's home world. "The quantum exodus begins now," Zara declared, her voice carrying through the nexus to every human on Earth and in the fledgling meme fleet. "Together, we will reclaim my world and forge a new alliance between our peoples." As the meme fleet prepared to make the jump, a new hashtag began trending across the galaxy, #Memius-to-Victory. Earth, once a backwater planet, had become the launching pad for a revolution that would reshape the cosmos. Armed with quantum powers, unbreakable unity, and an inexhaustible supply of dank memes, humanity took its first bold steps into a larger, stranger universe. The quantum exodus had begun, and the boundaries between reality and imagination would never be the same again. Quantum singularity, the meme that broke reality. The meme fleet emerged from the wormhole into a dazzling array of quantum fractals. Zara's homeworld, Luminara, hung in the distance, a shimmering orb surrounded by the ominous bulk of Void Hunter warships. "By the Holy Doge," Dr. Quantum whispered, his wild hair crackling with excitement, "we've entered a realm where memes and reality are one." Indeed, the very fabric of space-time around them rippled with familiar images. Grumpy Cat's scowl contorted nearby asteroids. A swarm of note spiders wove a protective web around the meme fleet. Even the stars themselves seemed to arrange into a cosmic loss.check. Aria, her fingers flying across quantum-entangled holograms, reported, "The Void Hunters are adapting. They're trying to out-meme us." On the main view screen, enemy ships morphed into grotesque parodies of Earth memes. Impact font declarations of "All your base are belong to US" blazed across their hulls. Agent Shadow, now fully embracing his role in this cosmic madness, grimaced. "Outdated references, that's the best they've got. Deploy the Gen Z Defense Squad." A phalanx of TikTok-inspired ships shot forward, their hulls flickering with rapid-fire video edits and surreal humor. The Void Hunters, unable to process the sheer absurdity, began to glitch and malfunction. Zora, her eyes glowing with the full power of the quantum viral nexus, raised her hands. Now, people of Earth and Luminara alike, witness the true power of united consciousness. At her command, the entire Mean Fleet began to pulse in unison. Millions of minds, both human and Luminaran, focused on a single thought. A meme so powerful, so transcendent, that it had the potential to reshape reality itself. Dr. Quantum's eyes widened in realization. Great Scott, they're trying to invoke the ultimate meme. The singularity of humor itself. As the collective will of two worlds focused, a shimmering form began to take shape in the space between the fleets. It started as a simple line drawing, crude yet somehow familiar. Then colors bloomed, details sharpened, and suddenly, "Is that?" Agent Shadow squinted in disbelief. "It can't be," Arya whispered. Orion let out a joyous bark of recognition.